Okay, so if you're watching these videos in order, you have already seen kind of the anatomy of the nervous system, both central and peripheral. This video is looking at particular parts of the peripheral nervous system. So the peripheral nervous system can be divided into basically two branches: the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system deals with anything relating to skeletal muscles. So those things that we can voluntarily control, also reflex arcs involving skeletal muscles. All of that is the somatic nervous system. We're not going to talk specifically very much about it, as long as you know like somatic equals skeletal muscles. That should be fine. What we're going to talk more about is the autonomic nervous system. So this is, as you see, the involuntary branch of the nervous system. So it is dealing with anything that happens in your body that is not consciously controlled. So digestion, urination, breathing, heart, all of those things. So it is divided further into two divisions: the sympathetic division and the parasympathetic division. So each of those divisions is going to control sort of a different set of processes in the body. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So this is a broad overview of what I was just saying. You have the somatic nervous system, which affects skeletal muscle, and then the autonomic nervous system affects basically everything else, right? So we're going to talk in just a moment about the two divisions: the sympathetic division. Notice here we have norepinephrine and epinephrine. Adrenaline is the common name for epinephrine, so that might give you kind of a hint as to what the sympathetic division is doing. And then the parasympathetic division, likewise, is kind of the opposite of the sympathetic. So we'll talk more about those right now. But key thing: skeletal muscle versus everything else that is controlled in the body. So, autonomic nervous system, two divisions. The sympathetic division is often referred to as the fight or flight division. Basically, it responds to unusual stimuli. So, when you see a cheetah, or if you have to stop really quick in your car, or something scary happens, then the sympathetic nervous system takes over to increase activities. So it is involved with the E's. So exercise, excitement, emergency, and embarrassment. Unusual stimulus that's going to cause you to go like, yikes. Your sympathetic nervous system is taking over and starting that fight or flight type response. So blood pressure is going to increase, more blood flow to the muscles to get more oxygen sent to the muscles, so you can run away from the cheetah, for instance. So sympathetic is fight or flight. Parasympathetic a lot of times is referred to as rest and digest. It is responsible for kind of down-regulating all of the things that the sympathetic nervous system does. So it helps to conserve energy, to maintain necessary bodily functions, so digestion, regulation of heart rate, sort of down-regulating heart rate, pulling blood in toward the digestive tract instead of out toward the muscles. You can remember it as the D division. E is sympathetic, D is parasympathetic. like a P, sort of looks like a D, right? So digestion, defecation, which is waste elimination, and diuresis, which is also waste elimination. So those digestion type functions are controlled by the parasympathetic nervous system. This is just good information. So the last thing I want to talk about are traumatic brain injuries, just because it's important. So many people play sports and things. So a concussion involves bleeding and tearing of nerve fibers. And so your self, your brain, your thoughts are all caused by interconnected neurons, which, like, if you start to think too much about that, it might make your brain hurt. Makes my brain hurt. But it's all those interconnections. And so if there is interruption of those connections because of bleeding or physical disruption with tearing, then you can disrupt some of those connections, and that can lead to memory loss and things of that nature. So a single concussion can cause some memory loss. Usually people can recover fully. If someone has repeated concussions, that causes, it's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And actually there can be big differences in the brain structure because of that repeated injury. So it can be scary if you have multiple concussions in particular. Protect your brains, people.